The squad car tore through the rain-slipped streets, its siren a frantic shriek that echoed off the high-rises. Valerie dug her manicured nails into her palms until they bled, her eyes fixed on the blurring cityscape outside the window. The crematorium. Why the crematorium? The answer hit her like a physical blow, stealing the air from her lungs. 3 years ago, Sally had found a stray kitten in the rain. She had smuggled it into her closet, feeding it scraps. When Richard found it, he had demanded a pet deposit of $500. When Sally couldn't pay, he had thrown the kitten back into the street. It was hit by a delivery truck the next morning. Sally had gathered the tiny broken body in a shoebox and walked 4 miles to the Southside crematorium, begging the operator to cremate the cat so she could keep its ashes. She had offered the man her entire collection of shiny pennies. The man had taken pity on her and done it for free. It was the only place in the city where Sally had ever experienced unconditional kindness without a price tag. The cruiser skidded to a halt in front of the looming, industrial smokestacks of the crematorium facility. "Spread out! Check the perimeter!" Detective Harrison yelled, drawing his weapon and motioning for his team to flank the building. Valerie didn't wait. She ignored the pouring rain that instantly plastered her silk blouse to her skin and ran toward the loading dock at the back of the building. "Sally, Sally," she screamed, her voice tearing at her throat, completely devoid of its usual polished, corporate cadence. She rounded the corner of the brick building and froze. Sitting under the meager shelter of a rusted metal awning was a small figure wrapped in a filthy, oversized coat. The coat belonged to the old man who operated the incinerators. He was standing next to the girl, holding a thermos of hot tea, looking terrified as the armed police swarmed the area. But Valerie only saw her daughter. Sally was clutching a small, plastic urn against her chest. Half of her face was covered in a thick, blood-soaked bandage. The pristine white of the medical gauze was a horrific, glaring contrast to the grime and dried blood caked on her chin and neck. Her remaining eye, cold and utterly devoid of childhood innocence, locked onto Valerie. "Sally," Valerie whispered, her knees buckling. She fell to the wet concrete, crawling forward on her hands and knees, heedless of the puddles and the dirt. "Oh my God, my baby. My baby, what have you done to yourself?" She reached out with a trembling hand, wanting to pull her daughter into her arms, wanting to press her face into that dirty hair and beg for forgiveness. "Stop." The word was quiet, but it stopped Valerie dead in her tracks. Sally didn't raise her voice. She didn't cry. She just looked at her mother with the absolute, freezing apathy of a seasoned accountant finalizing a bankrupt ledger. "The account is closed," Sally said, her voice raspy. "No, no, baby, please," Valerie sobbed, the rain mixing with her tears. "I was wrong. I was so wrong. Mommy is sorry. It was a mistake. All of it. The money, the rules. I was trying to make you strong, but I broke you. Please, let me fix it. Let me take you to the hospital. I can buy you the best doctors in the world. I can fix this." "Fix what?" Sally asked, tilting her head slightly. The bandage over her right eye was beginning to seep fresh red. "You owe me $1 for making me look at you," Valerie gasped, the cruelty of her own words thrown back at her feeling like shards of glass in her throat. "Sally, please." Richard's voice broke through the rain. He stumbled around the corner, having arrived in a separate squad car. His bespoke tuxedo was ruined, his face pale and slick with rain. He saw the bandage. He saw the blood. "Good God," Richard choked out, falling to his knees beside his wife. "Sally, we're your parents. You can't just leave us." "I bought my contract out," Sally stated flatly. She looked down at the Ziploc bag resting on her lap, next to the plastic urn. She picked it up and tossed it at Richard's feet. The blood-smeared dollar bills inside the bag looked grotesque against the wet concrete. "The lady at the clinic said the cornea wasn't damaged when I cut it," Sally explained, her tone conversational, as if she were discussing the weather. "She gave me an advance."